Humans are not the only race to have made their home on the blighted world of Necromunda, and of the many subspecies, mutants, and even true Xenos dwelling beneath its polluted skies, few are perhaps as important to its continued existence as the squats. Imperial records are vague on the origins of these hardy creatures, only stating that perhaps somewhere in humanity's dim and distant past they share a common ancestor with the humans of today. What is known, at least on Necromunda, is that the squats came to that world some 10,000 years ago, not long after its conquest by the Imperium, when the scars of a galaxy-spanning civil war were still fresh on the face of the world, and much rebuilding needed to be done. For this task, the squats were unequaled in their skill, being a race of engineers, architects, and craftsmen. Dozens of great squat clans came to Necromunda in this time, and it is in no small part due to their efforts that the world prospered as it did, many within the hives oblivious to the debt they owe to the squats. Centuries later, the squats, or the Ironhead squats as they are known to the people of the wastes, live a semi-nomadic lifestyle in their great land trains, travelling from mining site to mining site, siphoning off the wealth of 10,000 years of pollution to sell to the clan houses. These vast mechanical mining rigs are like cities on tracks, and the sound of their rumbling passage carries for kilometers in all directions as they crawl from one mine to the next. When a land train reaches a suitable dig site, it forms a lega, or circle of great vehicles, and might stay for months or even years as it plunders the earth beneath its tracks. While the lega is in place, prospecting parties range out in all directions from it, seeking fresh finds and protecting their clan, until the time the lega is broken down and the land train moves on to fresh prospecting grounds. To many, the squats are eccentric engineers who create wondrous artifacts and tinker with ancient technology, or prospectors without peer who always seem to know where the richest veins of ore and chems are to be found. But in truth, they are much, much more. Behind the human-controlled organizations of the Utanos Mining Combine, which sometimes works with squat prospectors, or the shale-fist miners of the Dust Rifts, who many believe comprise the entirety of the squat race on Necromunda, is a deep and ancient culture. Birthed from an ancestral core, an artifact of another time, the squats of Necromunda are a splinter of a much larger race, one that values the bonds of clan and the perfection of a machine well made. Though they might keep to themselves, the mining clans and their charter lords are a society unto themselves, having lived and endured out in the wastes longer than most noble or clan houses have existed. Only the Imperial House knows the true extent of the squat presence on Necromunda, or the accords the Hive Cities have made with their mining clans for the continued life and prosperity of the world. Around the edges of the great equatorial wastes, there are places of deep ancestral significance to the mining clans of the Ironhead squats. In millennia past, it was these places that the original 12 clans made planetfall and set up the first of the great lagers. Today, each is a fastness for its clan, centuries of mining having shaped the surrounding environment to protect against intrusion, while permanent settlements delve deep into the ground below. For much of the great cycle of Necromunda, a mining clan is absent from its fastness. Their lagers set out in the wastes or the spoil as they methodically work their way from site to site, though they always return to rest, trade, and renew bonds between clan families. In the northwestern hemisphere of Necromunda, there are 4 mining clans, more numerous and powerful than any other: the Anglish, Svardhol, Tapfrakit, and Skragfrid. Close to the great north-south trade routes of Minerva and Hive Primus, the Anglish squat clans have the closest relationship with the humans of Necromunda. They are known to hivers as prolific traders, a practice that often sees them in conflict with the Merchant Guild, who do not like that the Anglish envoys and prospectors cannot be bullied or bought like their normal customers. Varbruk Goldhands is the charter lord of the Anglish, and is perhaps the most cunning trader in all the squat clans. A dubious honour, given many other squats considered Varbruk having gotten too close to the hivers and adopted their foolish ways. Something the Charter Lord does not seem to mind, given the excessive wealth enjoyed by his mining clan. Once far more numerous and prosperous, the squats of Svardhol were devastated during the orc invasion of Necromunda. Their fastness, close to what is now known as the Skull, was assaulted, and it was only through their bitter defense that they survived, though only just. Far more warlike than any of the other mining clans, they maintain a permanent fighting cadre of drillkin. It is rumoured, much to the tutting of other clans, that they even engage in mercenary work for the human houses. Gudnar Svardsen is the charter lord of the Svardhol, and has a reputation as a fearsome warrior, having lived some 300 years with the scars to prove it. It is Gudnar's dream to plunder the riches of the skull and slay the creatures that dwell within, though thus far all of his expeditions have ended in failure. To the north of Secundus lies the fastness of Tapfrakit. Tinkers and miners without peer, of all the mining clans, they are known for their engineering marvels and the exceptional quality of their weapons and war gear. Legend has it, it was the ancestors of the Tapfrakit that helped expand the first Hive cities, and it is no coincidence that the Necromagnium Underway, the great tunnel that links the hemispheres of Necromunda, bears the maker's mark of the Tapfrakit on each of its mile markers. Thorgrim Keitenton is the charter lord of the Tapfrakit, an engineer who has no equal, at least to hear him tell it. Unlike other charter lords, Vorgon dislikes contacts with the other inhabitants of Necromunda, preferring the company of machines and the depths of the world's underways, an outlook shared by his charter masters. if they know what's good for them. Among the northernmost squat holds stands Scragfrid, its fasteners held high in the peaks of the near spoil. They are natural explorers and prospectors, and Scragfrid mining clans have laid claim to some of the richest veins of ore and chems ever to be found on Necromunda. Considered a bit odd by the other squat mining clans, the Scragfrid also scavenge archaeotech and even other found technologies, stripping them down and creating new tech from the pieces. Freyna Scragson is the charter lord of the Scragfrid, a woman with a thirst for adventure, who is seen by many as both alarming and also not becoming of a charter lord. A consummate adventurer, Freyna carries trophies and trinkets from her many expeditions to the far reaches of Necromunda, including everything from the diamond eyes of a giant leviathan-some spider to a strange rifle polearm she claims she wrestled from the hands of a sheen harpy.